Millionaire tests his girlfriend by claiming his company went bankrupt. Her reaction is unbelievable, unveiling layers of their relationship that neither expected. Ethan stood by the window, rain drumming against the glass like an urgent heartbeat. The storm outside mirrored his inner turmoil. He had everything: wealth, power, and success. Yet, as he gazed at the droplets racing each other down the pane, he felt an emptiness that gnawed at him. However, the temptation hung heavy in the air, and Jenna felt the pull of the wallet too. Her own aspirations of owning a restaurant seemed so far away, and a sudden windfall could bridge that gap. But what if, she began, then stopped, wrestling with her own inner conflict. Luis, the cook, had overheard their conversation. He paused in his work, the sizzle of onions on the grill fading into the background. Memories of his own past temptations flooded his mind. "You know, it's not just about the money," he said, his voice low but steady. "It's about who you become in the process." He looked at Mark, then Jenna, searching for understanding in their eyes. "I made my choices, and they haunt me. Don't let this wallet be your downfall." Mark shifted uncomfortably, the weight of Luis's words sinking in. "But what if it could set me free?" he countered, his voice rising in frustration. "What if it could change everything for my family?" The tension in the cafe thickened, as if time had slowed down. Customers continued their chatter, oblivious to the storm brewing among the staff. Jenna stepped closer, her eyes shining with determination. "We all have dreams, Mark, but is stealing really the way to achieve them? My grandmother always said that honesty is the foundation of everything," she reminded him. "If we compromise our values now, what does that say about us?" Luis nodded, feeling the weight of both their dreams and fears. "You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. You can't escape your past by making the same mistakes," he urged, hoping to spark a flicker of clarity in Mark's eyes. What if this moment could be a chance for something better? Mark's gaze drifted back to the wallet, its leather glistening under the cafe's warm lights. The siren call of easy money beckoned to him, but the voices of his friends echoed in his mind, creating a cacophony of doubt. "What if I mess everything up?" he muttered, feeling the weight of their expectations. Jenna placed a hand on his shoulder, grounding him in the moment. "You won't know unless you choose. Just remember, every action has consequences," she said, her voice a calming balm in the chaos. Luis stepped back, letting the tension simmer, knowing that this moment would define them all. The cafe buzzed around them, a stark contrast to the storm of thoughts swirling in their minds. The wallet lay open, a silent witness to their struggles, each of them grappling with their own temptations and dreams. What would they choose? What kind of future awaited them beyond this moment? The answers lingered just out of reach, setting the stage for a pivotal choice that could reshape their lives forever. As the morning sun streamed through the windows of Café de Esperanza, the atmosphere buzzed with the usual chatter and clinking of cups. Yet, beneath the surface, a heavy weight settled on the shoulders of the cafe staff. Each of them wrestled with their own thoughts, reflections on choices that loomed larger than the open wallet left on the table. Mark, the barista with dreams of a better life, stood behind the counter, lost in his memories. He thought back to a time when he felt hope and joy. "I just wanted to make my family proud," he whispered to himself, recalling his younger sister's smile as she opened her birthday presents. But life had not been kind. Bills piled up, and his meager wages barely covered rent. The sight of that wallet filled with cash stirred a desperate longing within him. What if I just took a little, just enough to help? The thought gnawed at him. He shook his head, pushing the temptation aside. "No, I can't. I have to be better than that." Meanwhile, Jenna, the waitress with her heart set on owning a restaurant, stood near the window, her eyes drifting toward the bustling street outside. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. "Honesty is the best policy, my dear." The words had always guided her, but now they felt like a heavy chain. She glanced at Mark and saw the struggle etched on his face. "Mark," she said softly, guilt creeping into her voice. "Have you thought about what you would do if you found that wallet?" Mark looked up, surprised. "I don't know, Jenna. I want to do the right thing, but it's so hard." Jenna nodded, feeling a pang of empathy. "I get it, I really do. But we have to think about what it means for us, for our future." Luis, the cook, overheard their conversation from the kitchen. He wiped his hands on a towel and leaned against the doorframe, his face clouded with memories. He remembered his own past, filled with mistakes and regrets. "I made choices that led me down a dark path," he said quietly, joining the discussion. "The easy way out never leads anywhere good. I learned that the hard way." "What happened?" Jenna asked, her curiosity piqued. Luis took a deep breath. "I got involved with the wrong people. I thought I could make quick money, but it only brought pain. I lost my family, my dignity. I can't go back to that." Mark listened intently, feeling a connection with Luis. "So, what do we do now? Just stand here and do nothing?" "No," Luis replied. "We make a choice. Each of us has to decide what kind of person we want to be." The weight of the conversation hung heavy in the air. Mark felt a swell of determination. "You're right. I can't let this wallet define me. I need to think about my sister and the life I want for her." Jenna smiled, feeling a spark of hope. "And I want to honor my grandmother's teachings. I won't let this moment push me away from who I am." As they spoke, the cafe buzzed with an oblivious crowd, laughter and chatter masking the inner turmoil of the three employees. Yet, despite the noise, each of them felt a shift within. They were not just workers in a cafe. They were individuals facing a crossroads. Luis looked at his friends, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. No matter what happens with that wallet, we have to remember that our choices matter. They shape who we are. Mark and Jenna nodded in agreement, feeling a sense of unity. In that moment, they realized they were not alone in their struggles. They stood together, bound by their shared experiences and the weight of their decisions. As the sun continued to rise, casting warm light over Café da Esperanza, each character felt the weight of their choices solidifying. Their hearts raced with uncertainty, but within that uncertainty lay the promise of growth and understanding. The cafe, filled with laughter and life, stood in stark contrast to the internal battles of its staff. And as they prepared for the day ahead, they knew one thing for certain. The choices they made today would echo long into the future. The atmosphere in Café da Esperanza grew thick with tension as the three employees gathered around the table where Arthur Pendleton had left his wallet. The chatter of the cafe faded into a low hum, allowing their rising emotions to take center stage. Mark stood, with his hands trembling slightly, his eyes darting between the wallet and his co-workers. "Guys, we can't just leave it there," Mark said, his voice a mix of urgency and fear. "What if he comes back and finds it missing? What if he thinks one of us took it?" Jenna leaned in closer, her brow furrowed. "But what if we don't return it? What if one of us takes it? This could change everything for us." Her voice quivered as she spoke, revealing the weight of her own dreams and struggles. "I want to open my restaurant. I need money to make that happen." Luis crossed his arms, a hint of frustration in his tone. "You know that taking it is wrong, Jenna. Think about your grandmother and what she taught you. Honesty matters." Mark nodded in agreement, grateful for Luis's perspective. "Luis is right. We have to think about what this means for us. If we keep it, what kind of people does that make us?" Jenna stared at the wallet, her heart racing. "But what if this is our chance? This could be a way out of our struggles." Her voice rose, passion igniting her words. "I can't keep living paycheck to paycheck. I want more for myself." Luis sighed deeply, his own memories flooding back. "I know that feeling all too well, Jenna. I made choices in the past that I regret. I thought I was doing what was best for me, but it only brought pain. I don't want to go down that road again." Mark looked between them, his hands still shaking. "I don't want to be a bad person. I want to do the right thing. But it's hard when we're all hurting." He swallowed hard, his vulnerability laid bare. "I have a family that depends on me, and I can't help but think about what this money could do for us." Jenna took a step closer to him, her eyes softening. "I get it, Mark. We all want to provide for the ones we love. But this isn't just about us. It's about who we are. What kind of people do we want to be?" Luis's gaze shifted from the wallet to his colleagues, feeling the bonds of shared struggle. "We can't lose sight of our values. If we take that money, we're just feeding into the cycle of dishonesty. We have to break free from that." The cafe buzzed around them, unaware of the storm brewing at their table. Mark clenched his fists, grappling with the turmoil inside him. "I wish it were easier. I wish we could just take it and not feel guilty. But I know I wouldn't be able to live with myself." "Then let's return it," Jenna said, her voice steady now. "Let's choose honesty. It might not be the easy path, but it's the right one. We can find another way to achieve our dreams." Luis nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. "Yes, we can work together to make our dreams happen without resorting to dishonesty." Mark looked at them, his heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, both of you. I needed to hear that. I don't want to regret my choices." As they stood there, united by their decision, a sense of warmth enveloped them. It was as if the weight of their internal battles had lifted, replaced by a shared commitment to integrity and friendship. Each of them knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Just then, the door swung open, and Arthur Pendleton strolled back into the cafe, a casual smile on his face. "Hey, has anyone seen my wallet?" he asked with a carefree tone, completely oblivious to the storm of emotions that had just unfolded. Mark, Jenna, and Luis exchanged glances, a moment of clarity washing over them. They were ready to confront their dilemma, prepared to uphold their values in the face of temptation. The choice was made, and the true test of their character was about to begin. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm glow through the windows of Café da Esperanza, Arthur Pendleton returned to his table with an air of casual confidence. He looked around, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Has anyone seen my wallet?" he asked, his voice light, but the question hung heavy in the air. Mark, Jenna, and Luis exchanged glances, each feeling the weight of the moment. Mark's heart raced as he thought about the cash and cards inside that wallet. He could almost hear the siren call of temptation whispering in his ear. "Just say something," he thought, but the words stuck in his throat. I haven't seen it," Mark finally managed to say, his voice barely above a whisper. The truth felt like a stone lodged in his chest, heavy and unyielding. He could see Jenna's expression shift, her brow furrowing in concern. Jenna cleared her throat, glancing at Luis, who stood silently by the kitchen door. "Arthur, I'm sorry, I didn't see it either," she said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Inside, she battled with her own thoughts. Should she tell him? Should she betray Mark's silent struggle? Luis, feeling the tension rise, stepped forward. "Maybe it fell somewhere," he suggested, his voice steady but low. He tried to keep his own memories at bay, memories of choices made that led him down a dark path. Although he wanted to help, he felt the grip of his past tightening around him. Arthur looked at them, his smile fading slightly. "You're sure? It was right here on the table." He gestured to the empty spot where his wallet had been, and his expression grew serious. "I need it back. It has important things in it." The atmosphere in the cafe thickened, the buzz of chatter and clinking of cups fading into the background. Each employee felt the pressure of the moment, their emotions boiling under the surface. Would they speak the truth or let temptation take hold? Mark's thoughts raced. What if I just took a little? No one would know. The idea danced in his mind, but he quickly shook his head, trying to clear the fog of greed. "No, I can't do that, he thought, feeling a pang of guilt wash over him. Jenna looked at Mark, seeing the conflict etched on his face. Mark, you have to make the right choice, she urged softly, her voice barely above a whisper. It's not just about the money, it's about who we are. Her heart raced as she spoke, hoping her words would reach him. Luis nodded in agreement, remembering the lessons from his own life. We have to be honest, no matter how hard it is. It's what will define us, he added, his voice steady. He felt a connection forming among them, an understanding forged through shared struggles. Arthur's brow furrowed as he sensed the tension. What's going on? He asked, his tone shifting to one of concern. Are you all hiding something from me? The three employees froze, caught in a moment of silence. They realized that their choices were not just about the wallet, but also about their integrity, their loyalty to one another, and their own self-respect. Mark took a deep breath, his mind racing against the clock. No, Arthur. He hesitated, searching for the right words. We just want to help, but we didn't see your wallet. Arthur studied them intently, his gaze piercing. I understand. Just remember, honesty is important, especially now. His words hung in the air, a reminder of the stakes involved. As the moment stretched on, each character felt the weight of their decision pressing down on them. Their loyalty to Arthur clashed with their personal desires and the fear of losing something they couldn't define. Finally, Mark looked at Jenna and Luis, their eyes filled with understanding. We have to do the right thing, he whispered, almost to himself. The revelation settled over them like a warm blanket, reassuring, yet challenging. Their choices would not only shape their relationship with Arthur, but also reveal who they truly were. In that charged atmosphere of unspoken words and heavy hearts, the cafe stood still, a witness to the silent battle of morality that raged within each of them. The path forward was unclear, but they knew it was a moment they could not escape. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over Café de Esperanza, the atmosphere felt different. The weight of the recent events lingered in the air, and each character found themselves lost in thought. The wallet incident had stirred something deep within them, prompting reflections that were both personal and profound. Mark stood behind the counter, wiping down the espresso machine with a cloth. He couldn't shake the mix of relief and guilt from his mind. What have I done? He whispered to himself, glancing at the tables filled with customers chatting and laughing. He remembered the moment when he chose to return the wallet to Arthur. I did the right thing, he muttered, trying to convince himself. But what about the money? What about my family? His fingers trembled slightly as he remembered the cash he had seen. The thought of that money could have changed everything. Yet, he felt a flicker of pride. I chose honesty, he thought, but the guilt still clung to him like a shadow. He sighed deeply. I need to figure out what really matters. Meanwhile, Jenna was in the corner, stacking clean plates. Her heart raced as she recalled how she had stood up for what she believed was right. I can't let this experience go to waste, she said aloud, surprising herself. She thought of her dream of opening a restaurant, a place where she could share her love for food with others. This is my chance to start fresh, she said, determination filling her voice. If I can be honest with myself, I can be honest with my future. Luis, who was busy chopping vegetables in the kitchen, overheard Jenna's words. He paused, reflecting on his own past and the mistakes that haunted him. You're right, Jenna, he said, stepping out of the kitchen. We all have a chance to change. He wiped his hands on his apron and looked her in the eyes. I've made mistakes before, and they nearly cost me everything, but I want to make amends now. Jenna nodded, feeling a connection with Luis. It's never too late to start over, she replied softly. We can support each other, you know. Mark watched their exchange, feeling a sense of hope rise within him. Maybe I'm not alone in this, he thought. Maybe we can all find a way to move forward. He approached them, ready to share his feelings. I think we all learned something important, he said, his voice steady. It's about more than just money. It's about who we are and who we want to be. Luis smiled, feeling encouraged. Exactly. Let's not just talk about change. Let's make it happen. We can create a better future together. The cafe hummed with a new energy, a sense of unity forming among them. They began to brainstorm ideas, each one contributing their dreams and hopes. What if we started a community dinner night? Jenna suggested. We could showcase local chefs and use it to raise funds for my restaurant. Mark's eyes lit up. That's a great idea. We could invite local musicians too. It could be a celebration of our community. Luis nodded, his heart swelling with excitement. Yes, and we can share our stories. People connect through experiences. It will show how we've all grown from this. As they discussed their plans, the cafe began to fill with laughter and chatter. But this time, it felt different. It was a space of support and understanding. Mark, Jenna, and Luis realized that they were no longer just individuals struggling with their own dilemmas. They were part of a team, working toward a common goal. Later that evening, as they cleaned up after the last customers had left, Mark felt lighter than he had in days. I'm glad we talked, he said, looking at Jenna and Luis. I think we're on the right path. Jenna smiled warmly. Together, we can create something beautiful. We just need to keep being honest with ourselves and each other. Luis agreed, and no matter what happens, we will face it together. That's what matters most. As they locked up the cafe for the night, the three of them shared a newfound sense of purpose. The wallet incident had sparked a change, a chance for redemption that none had expected. They were ready to embrace the future, not just for themselves, but for each other. The sun dipped below the horizon, and with it came the promise of a new beginning. The atmosphere in Café da Esperanza had changed dramatically since the wallet incident. The usual chatter and laughter still filled the air, but now there was something deeper. Trust and integrity had taken center stage, weaving through every conversation and every interaction among the staff and customers. Mark stood behind the counter, wiping down the espresso machine. He looked up to see Jenna serving a couple at a nearby table. Her smile was genuine, and he noticed how she took extra time to make sure they were satisfied. You're really glowing today, Jenna, he remarked, a hint of admiration in his voice. Jenna turned to him, her expression brightening. I feel different, you know, like I've shed some heavy weight. That whole wallet thing, it made me rethink what really matters. Luis, busy chopping vegetables in the kitchen, listened in. He paused for a moment, wiping his hands on a towel. You're right. It's not just about the money. It's about how we treat each other, he said, his eyes reflecting a mix of hope and determination. Exactly, Mark agreed, leaning against the counter. I used to think that having more cash would solve my problems. But now, I see that it's the people around me who make my life richer. Arthur Pendleton, the eccentric millionaire, entered the cafe once again. He had been quietly observing the changes in the atmosphere. As he sat down at his usual table, he felt a sense of warmth that hadn't been there before. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well, he said, his tone light but curious. Jenna approached him with a fresh cup of coffee. Morning, Mr. Pendleton. How's your day going? She asked, eager to engage in conversation. Arthur smiled, taking the cup from her. Much better now, thank you. You know, I've been thinking about our little experiment. It seems to have brought the community closer together. Luis joined them, wiping his hands on his apron. It's true. We've all learned something valuable. It's not just about the money, but the relationships we build. He looked at Mark and Jenna, who nodded in agreement. Arthur leaned back in his chair, contemplating their words. I've always believed that wealth is about more than just dollars and cents. You've shown me that integrity and connection are what truly enrich our lives. Mark, feeling inspired, took a step forward. It's like we've become a family here. I never expected that a lost wallet could lead to this change. Jenna hesitated for a moment, then added, and it's not just about us. This cafe feels like a safe haven for everyone. People come here not just for coffee, but for the warmth of friendship. Arthur chuckled softly. You've all created a place where trust thrives. I wonder if I could help you expand this idea. Perhaps we could hold community events to strengthen these bonds even further. Luis's eyes lit up. That would be amazing. We could invite local musicians, artists, and chefs. It would bring everyone together to celebrate what we have. Jenna nodded enthusiastically. And we could share our stories, our struggles, and our victories. It would show that we are all in this together. Arthur raised his cup in a toast. To true wealth, then, the wealth of community, integrity, and connection. The three of them raised their cups, a sense of unity enveloping them. Mark suddenly felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. Thank you, Arthur, not just for the wallet incident, but for reminding us what really matters. As they shared ideas, laughter echoed in the cafe. The customers who filled the seats around them were unaware of the profound shift happening within the staff. Yet, the energy was palpable, a shared understanding that had emerged from their trials. The day continued with a new spirit. As customers entered, they were greeted with warmth and kindness, the essence of true wealth radiating from each interaction. The cafe had transformed into a place where empathy and connection flourished, creating a community that would thrive together. And in that moment, the characters realized that while they had faced a test of loyalty, they had also uncovered the importance of being there for one another. Their lives were forever changed, and in the heart of Café de Esperanza, they found a new beginning. Share this story if you believe that trust and connection can transform even the toughest situations. Leave a comment about how a small act of kindness has made a difference in your life, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales like this one.